Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. Blake Cousins here. The UFO community is starting to fall apart, but let me tell you, I think we're a strong team. And Richard from GoofOn has recently had some issues with his channel. He's opening up a backup channel called GoofOn Lives. GoofOn's been working really hard to get the information out as fast as possible. Let me tell you, he's got his own opinions. And that's what this community needs, opinions and hard-hitting questions. And that's what we're going to continue to bring you right here at Third Phase of Moon. So I want you guys to take a look at this overview of the past subject matter in regards to the phenomenon over the past month right here at Third Phase of Moon. And we asked Richard Giordano to go over some of the evidence that has been submitted into us. And it's thanks to you, the public, that continues to have their eye on the sky and bringing us the information. I also wanted to let everybody know we're going to be bringing you the new documentary right here at Third Phase of Moon in regards to the big question. This new documentary is called Mystery Behind the Multiverse. Beyond the Possibilities of Imagination. It's going to be premiering tomorrow exclusively on Third Phase of Moon. Now everybody buckle up and check out Richard Giordano's report right here. And check out Richard Giordano's report right here on Third Phase of Moon. And don't forget, check out his new channel, GoofOn Lives. The link will be below in the description.
I'm Rich Giordano from GoofOn. And here is tonight's report. I have got some TR-3B footage that's going to blow you away. Something that looks like a Tic Tac and an orb or plasma ball. Let me show you. I'm going to give you a couple of samples here. So remember, you're not alone. You see? All right, we're going to look at this TR-3B looking thing. People are driving along the road. They see these lights, never seen them before. Here it is. This is amazing. I don't know what this is, but we're going to take a close look at this. I don't know. It's some sort of light in the sky, and it doesn't make sense. There's the Tic Tac looking thing. This one is intriguing. I can't wait to show you this one because I know what you're going to say. I know what you're thinking, but it's not that. You'll see. And the last one, no, two more. This one is a porcupine looking UFO. It's almost like an acorn, not an acorn, I can't think of the name, but it's very spiky. And then we got the plasma orb. I don't know if it's an energy orb of some sort of something, but we'll take a look at that. Let's go.
Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. Blake Cousins here. We got a special for you. You're looking for the UFO videos. Well, we've got a lot of them for you tonight. So welcome to the show and buckle up, everybody. We've got a TR-3B video that we're looking at right now. 3 stationary lights. We don't know what's going on right here, but we wanted to show it to you. These lights remain stationary for quite a distance of time, and we're looking at it. And we appreciate everybody joining us as we're watching this with everybody. Like I said, we got a lot of UFO videos tonight. So let's just roll this one as we're looking at it once again. Are these military flares, or is this something that some people might claim is the TR-3B captured in broad daylight? Brett, what's your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is good footage, Blake. We're on a road trip as we speak, and we're collecting the emails from around the world, and this came in, and this was a good one. It captured our eye. Could this just be military flares like you just said, Blake, or is it something else? We get a good close-up of this, and you could kind of see kind of an outline around the object itself. It almost resembles the TR-3B. Could this be a one piece, a one craft? That's the big question right here. Again, I could lean towards this being military flares, but looking at this, I could see how somebody might lean towards this being maybe a TR-3B. still, we don't know what it is. It's unidentified. It's a UFO, Blake. It's good stuff.
Yeah, like I said, Brent, the videos, they keep coming into third phase of moon, and we're in kind of freezing conditions right now, so we're a little short of breath. It's about 47 degrees at our location, and we're not used to it. We're, like I said, crossing across America. We're Hawaii boys, and this weather is kind of getting us a little bit, but we want to bring you the news, and we're looking at this. And guys, I want to get your opinions. What's going on in this video? These three lights, as we're watching it, we see them traveling down a freeway, and they're pointing their cameras out, watching these lights remain stationary for a while. You could hear a little communication, whatever's going on between the eyewitnesses. You can hear that they're baffled about what they're looking at. The question is, what are they looking at? That's what we want to find out. We're looking at it again, and we see a really good close-up of this craft. And like you said, Brent, you could almost see a triangular-shaped halo around it, almost shadow formed, almost maybe cloaking in its own way. Brent, your last thoughts on this before we get to the next video?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We got a bunch more coming up. This was just a good start. Again, is this what people might say is a TR3B encounter?
All right, wow. I could already tell that object is in the sky. This is being dubbed a TR3B, but I would say it's TR3B-esque. Because I'm not so sure there's a craft there, like a one craft and three lights. And now that's stationary, and it stayed there for quite some time. I don't know the exact minutes. But if this is military flares, they formed a nice little triangle there that looks nearly made with equidistant lights, which is, very impossible. Well, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but dropping three flares, I don't know. I don't think they would form a perfect triangle, but these three lights are there. They resemble flares, but they're not flickering, and I can't tell because the video's not long enough. I can't tell if they're falling, but I don't see a parachute. I don't see a smoke trail on any of those lights. So I am not so sure that isn't a real unidentified. I'm not saying it's alien. I mean, that could be military, but to fly it out where the public is wouldn't make much sense unless they're trying to get a reaction. Now, that is something they have done, in my opinion. Flying unidentified aircraft, secret craft that we don't know about, and to throw out some disinformation to confuse the public. I just wouldn't put it past our government or any government to do that, to confuse the public. So, is there a craft right there? One craft, three lights, or is it just three lights? Is it military flares? We'll never know. But it's a very interesting report. All right, let's go over to the next one. You guys are going to love this.
Con avión o algo.
No, nada.
Sí, se apagó.
Se apagó.
Algo rarísimo.
All right, you see it, that thing, whatever it was. You guys might have thought it was the moon, the sun. Well, it blinked out of existence. It just disappeared. What could have done this? It was lighting up the sky for a long time, and then simply vanished. That's what caught the person's eye, in my opinion, that was there, who captured this video, knew that something was up, something peculiar, something strange. Brent, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Blake, I remember pulling this up, and he was taking a look, and Blake says, "What's this? Is it the moon or the sun?" I'm like, "Wait, you're going to see this thing. It's going to blink out." And that's what it did. It's pretty amazing. We're looking at something that's so luminescent, that's lighting up the night sky, and it's pretty much illuminating the village underneath it as well. We're seeing it. It's just static there, and it just holds itself, and then all of a sudden it just blinks out. It sparks out of existence. This is a cool sighting, and it needs to be shared. We see this kind of anomaly in this atmospheric phenomenon or otherworldly craft creating this kind of situation pretty much on a daily to a weekly basis. It's constant. It's very unique, and I really like this capture.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Brent, is this possibly a natural occurrence, like natural weather phenomenon that we don't see every day? Like maybe a static field of energy with electricity in the sky, and then it just blinked out? Or is this something otherworldly, Brent?
Yeah, it's hard telling. What we're looking at could be military. It could be new technology, higher flares, and different luminosity of these objects that they could create. What we're seeing is something that is, again, people don't know what they're seeing in the skies. It's a big question. What is it, and where's it coming from?
Okay, every now and then we get a report that comes in, and you really can't tell what you're looking at. This is one of those. Now, I'm going to run through a couple of options first. Is this, are we looking at a possible screen? You know what I mean? Is this a reflection off of a screen onto a window? It's weird. It looks like there may be a reflection that we're looking at and a flashlight behind a black cloth, and maybe they're moving the light away from the cloth and making it look like it's going into darkness. It is weird. Now that's a stretch, okay? This looks like it's there, but it's acting weird. You could see it pulsating almost, like it's definitely energy of some sort, but is it a drone with the very bright light, with a dimmer on it? I've never seen anything like this. That's what bothers me. I have nothing to compare it to. We've seen lights disappear, we've seen them come and go, but look how it's spread out. It almost looks like a cotton ball. You know, it's not defined. It's really odd. And then it goes down into a small point. So then I'm thinking, is that moving away from us, or is it dimming out? And how big is it? That object could be enormous, but we only get to see a little point of light. And when the light gets that bright, of course it'll block everything out. Look at that. That is bizarre. You see, now it looks like a cotton ball, but I think it's behind the clouds. There must be fog, but I don't see fog on the ground. So then I'm thinking it's low-flying clouds, low-hanging clouds. It could be high, thin cirrus clouds way up high. It just looks like it's low. Maybe that's in space. We just don't know. One thing I don't like is that I don't see it illuminating the ground. But I'm going to go out on a ledge and I'm going to say, I think we're being duped. I'm not sure. But I think this is some sort of reflection behind a black cloth. Maybe I'll do a test. Let's go to the next one, though. This is awesome.
And I'm not seeing any kind of cabin underneath this or any kind of tail coming off the back end of the craft. So I'm going to have to dismiss the Goodyear blimp. What's going on here, in my opinion, is possible military experimental craft is what we're looking at. And what a great place to do this, off the coast of California and possibly near this Malibu base. Brent, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm thinking this, with the information that was given to me, I'm thinking this is more closer to Baja. And that's interesting. This activity of UFOs and encounters with the Nimitz back in 2017. Is there a military UFO exercise going on in the Pacific? That's a big, definite possibility. Now, I'm looking at this. It's large and it's moving right to left at some speed. This thing's quite far away, and look at the speed that it's traveling. It's moving pretty fast. Now, people might dismiss this as a blimp, but why would a blimp be so far out over an ocean where they're not displaying an advertisement? That's not what they're in business for. They're there to display themselves. What's going on here? Here's a good map of right off the coast of California where it took place, and here we go. This is good information coming in.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up so we could actually nail down the exact location of whatever this craft is. And in my opinion, like you said, Brent, it has no business being out there. I don't think it's anything to do with some kind of commercial advertisement.
Okay, these have been popular in the last 3 to 4, maybe even 5 years, ever since the word Tic Tac became popular around 2017-ish. We have called these objects Tic Tacs. We used to call them cylindrical or cigar-shaped tube. Now these are Tic Tacs. Now, the one thing you're going to say immediately, and those of you who live near the ocean, go to the beach, whatever, you have seen banner ads being pulled by airplanes every time you go down to the beach, right? Those are usually much closer where people can read them. This is quite a distance away, and it's dark. Banner ads are usually white-ish, with some writing on it. White with black letters is the easiest thing to see, especially if you have a bright sky. So why would they be flying? First of all, that plane would be dangerously low if it was an airplane, because it's windy at the beach, and it's windy this day. So then I'm thinking, okay, it's a blimp. Nope. No gondola on the bottom. It doesn't look like it has a slope to it, like it would be really curved. I don't see that either. Now, it's not the best quality of footage, but I would think to the left and to the right, you would see an airplane pulling a banner. And I looked. Believe me, I looked, and there's no airplane. So what is it? Is it a blimp? Is it a test blimp? I don't think it's a drone. That is quite a distance away. It's at least a mile out there. At least a mile. And you can see it move from right to left. And it's very, very, very stable in a windy area. Look at is that a guy on a boat? Some sort of kayak? Or is that like a plane in the water? I'm trying to think that may be not a drone, a blimp. There's some nodules, it looks like, on the bottom, like maybe cutouts or indents. Maybe it's the landing gear. Maybe it's just pixelating and I'm not seeing it correctly. And you have to think about everything when you get a video like this, and many others on Third Phase of Moon. You have to think outside the box. You have to think of everything. And we're not trying to ruin that this may be a UFO. We want it to be a UFO. We're just trying to figure it out. We want to know the truth. The truth is very painful. But without the truth, we won't know anything. So don't get so dismissive when we're trying to figure it out. It's very important. And if anybody knows what this could be, put it in the chat or in the comment section. Next video. Oh, this is great.
Take a look at this. Bizarro, right? These kind of UFOs are kind of making the rounds. And here's another one that's kind of in really close proximity to the person who's shooting it. And I don't know about you guys, but if this was kind of approaching me, I'd be definitely pulling out my camera, but I would be kind of concerned on what's its agenda in close proximity to me. This is pretty bizarro. Brent, what's your thoughts? Yeah, notice the big power lines and the structure holding it up. The tower isn't interested in the electrical field. They're getting pretty close. If it had a touch with these lines, it would blow up. Now, could this be a balloon? Look at the spikes on it. I don't see it moving. It's not rotating or bobbing like a normal balloon would. This thing seems to be on its own flight path, just calmly dropping down, and seem to be aware of the power lines in itself. It looks almost biological, some people might say. This was given to us, and Jaime Maussan wanted to ask, what does the American people think of this video? What's going on here? Yeah, absolutely. Telemusoro and Jaime Maussan reaches out. They want us to share their evidence to the American community and as well the world itself. They know Third Phase of Moon's a huge platform getting the information out. So appreciate that, Jaime Maussan out of Mexico. But again, the question is, what the heck is this? You're right, Brent. If this were a balloon, I would think I would see some kind of undulation on the structure of itself. It's very, very rigid. Even the spikes itself seem not to waver one single bit. So, in my opinion, whatever this is, it has some girth to it. It's very rigid, and I don't see any prop propeller blades, so it's not a drone.
Sometimes videos will come across my desk, my email, the fax machine, and we get objects that are just ridiculous. And this one looks ridiculous. But does it mean it's identified? I know you're going to say balloon immediately, but I've seen many balloons in my life in the sky, and this is way too static. It isn't turning, it isn't flipping, it isn't even moving. It is so slow. I mean, it is, but it's, you know what I mean? It has weird appendages on it. It looks like a jack, you know, from the game, jacks, with the ball and the little pieces you pick up. Look, I could only say it's one thing, a balloon. And the sad thing is, we'll never know, but I could be wrong. Just because I haven't seen this before doesn't mean it's a balloon. Because that makes sense, right? I just don't know. And if there is propulsion like we think there is from these alien craft or our own secret craft, that's not impossible to imagine. I would think you could build anything with the propulsion that we think can handle any position, any speed, within reason. Pretty amazing stuff. Before we get to the last one, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Next.
And again, we want to thank Jaime Maussan for getting this to us. Even though the clip's pretty short, I would have liked to see where it went, where it came from, maybe some eyewitness testimony as we get from the public. But that being said, it's still very bizarro. Now, let's get to this. It's a pretty cool sighting of what looks to be some kind of experimental craft at a high altitude, illuminating the clouds. Watch this. So I'm pulling the video up once again and zooming in about 50% to get a closer look. And I'm looking at this bright orb. I can see that it's high up there in the atmosphere, possibly the stratosphere or maybe space. I'm not sure if this could be a satellite. I'm not seeing any FA lights on it, so I'm gonna have to rule out commercial. But I really like points of this video where you can see it shimmer off the clouds. So then I'm thinking this is a lot closer to the person on the ground who's shooting this, as it illuminates the clouds around it. This is pretty interesting. Look at this as it illuminates the clouds. This is pretty bright, and this is beyond any kind of drone that I'm aware of to do this kind of activity. And I would estimate these clouds to be at least maybe 10 to 15,000 feet in altitude. Brent, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can just see it. It's kind of dancing in and out of the clouds itself. It's doing its path. It almost seems to stall at some point too. This is pretty cool. We're seeing orbs. People are submitting them to us on a daily basis, and this is good evidence right here. Could this be something in space, a possible satellite? Well, that's a question here, but we did see it right there where it illuminated the clouds itself, and that was pretty spectacular.
Absolutely, Brent. Maybe Space Force is up to something up there, above top secret kind of things. That's something to comprehend and keep into the thought process as we move along in this field of ufology, or getting to the truth, or disclosure, whatever you call it.
Okay, I'm gonna say some things here because right out of the gate, this is a very tough one. There's only a few options that I think this may be, so I'm gonna go through them. First off, I thought when I saw this that it was an iridium flare satellite. Not your normal everyday satellite, but iridium flare satellites. They have solar panels that extend pretty far out, and an hour and a half to 2.5 hours before sunrise, and the same thing before sunset, the angle of the earth and the sun setting or rising, you will see reflection of the sun beaming off of the solar panels back to earth. There's an app for it, several of them, that can tell you where to find these. Now, is it that? Well, this seems to be going... I thought I saw it change direction, and if it is, then it can't be a satellite, any kind of satellite. But I think I'm being thrown off because when he turns, or when the person turns the camera, as it's... See, now it's slowing down. Yeah, but when they turned the camera, it looked like the object was turning, and I want to see that again, but watch this. I want to see if I'm right. This is what iridium flare satellites look like. Now, when it goes behind the cloud, it gets the reflection and it wipes it out. It makes the object its regular size, which is pretty small. Iridium flare satellites are not in Earth's atmosphere. This may look like it's in the cloud, but I'm pretty sure it's behind it in orbit, and it's just very bright that it illuminates the cloud. I could be wrong. This could be another energy orb or plasma orb. Watch. Right through the cloud. That's really pronounced. But it looks like this is a psionics camera, and it does a real good job with enhancing the light in darkness. So we get to see this way. So I'm not sure. Now that looked like it changed direction. Okay. So now I'm going to think it's not a satellite or iridium flare satellite, that it may be a drone. Let me tell you why. Drones have lights, landing lights, facing down always. Is it that? Is it a drone? Well, I know my drone can't go higher than 1,600 feet. It can go 8 miles in one direction, but not higher than that. 1,600 feet. These clouds, I think, are higher than 1,600 feet, but I'm not sure. See, that looks like it didn't light up the cloud right there. So maybe it's under it. Very interesting. What a great, unbelievable report.
Lindsay, come here. Lindsay. Yeah, could you turn the focus thing? I'm just trying to keep my hands. Just kind of adjust to see it.
Come over right there.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Wow.
Looks like it's gone down.
Looks like it is.
It's literally a UFO because it's unidentified. It's only by us.
Let's send the video into Glasgow Live.
Yeah. This will be the best thing they've had since that guy put a love letter in the path down there. Oh, I'm losing it.
So let's roll this once again and slow things down and get a closer look. Right now, we're kind of interested in this video because it's kind of breaking the news with what's been going on with the Jetpack man. Right now, the FBI is stating that these jetpacks that have been seen over LAX that have been harassing our airliners for the past year have now been stated that they're simple balloons, possibly. The FBI's rolling out that there's a real jetpack man out there. We've seen the videos, and in my opinion, I think there's some technology in regards to a jetpack man. And from the statements from the FBI and some local agencies investigating this, they're dismissing this as a simple balloon that's in close proximity to the FAA jetliner pilots. This is kind of crazy. As we're looking at this, I like it. What it is, I'm not exactly sure, but could it be a form of technology, Brent? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's coming down to, are we going to see people flying around the skies on a daily basis with jetpacks, your personal carrier, that you could just transform a person and have them leap off the ground? I believe it's right around the corner. What we're seeing here today with the hidden underbelly submission is pretty unique. This is a good capture. You could hear the people, they're stunned. They don't know what it is. Could it be balloons? That's a possibility, but people are saying this looks humanoid, and I kind of agree with that. What we're looking at with the commercial airliners and the recent FBI drop, I could rule out what they're recent submission and their photographs and even video they actually brought in doesn't really relate to what we saw 6 months ago.
Okay, so this one is dubbed the Jetpack guy for that reason right there. It looks like a guy figure. Now, it could be a balloon, don't get me wrong, that looks like a jug, a bottle, a guy, a humanoid. Now, for those of you who are quick to dismiss, sometimes I'm a little quick on the trigger. Let's take a look at this, because the movement looks like it's got some control, some power, under some intelligent control, I'm trying to say here. Why? Well, let's think about what we're all thinking. We're all thinking it's probably a balloon, some advertising balloon, right? That's what you're thinking. That would be the most logical way to go with this. But let's think outside the box and just look at what we're seeing. This is straight up and down. It is vertical. That is very difficult for balloons to do, even if they're designed to be perfectly straight up and down. This one, it's doing a really good job of keeping itself straight up and down, vertical. I don't see any wobbling. I don't see any tilting over to one side. The only thing I see is this object. So it looks like it's turning. Like it's looking away from us, and then it looks like it's looking to the left or the right. And you can see the movement. You can see how quick this thing is moving. This is quicker than a walking pace, I would imagine. The objects it looks like it can be 10 feet tall. We don't really know. We're going to get a better perspective on it so we could get an idea of how big it is here in a second. But it is unique. That's why there's a video of it. You see the building right there? Each floor is 12 feet. Now, I don't know how far away or whatever it is from there, but this looks like it could be 10 to 12 feet tall. That is really big for an advertising balloon that's not tipping over, just floating amongst the city. What do you think it is? I'd like to know. If you can put your comments in the chat room, let me know what you think this is. If it isn't a balloon for advertising purposes. I don't know if it's a new type of drone. I don't know. I haven't seen a drone look like this. And if it was, it would be different. No wonder why this is an unidentified flying object. Let's go to the next one.
Once again, let's get a close-up look. I'm actually adding some brightness contrast. This thing is zipping across the sky, undulating. Quite interesting, but what's amazing is that we have multiple eyewitnesses, 3 in fact. Take a look at this. Let's get another look at this, a close-up, whatever this object is. We're glad we're having multiple eyewitnesses. Keep watching, guys. We got some incredible stuff on this encounter. We'll get to the speculation in just a bit. Now let's bring in the third eyewitness account. Here it is. Multiple eyewitnesses. People have their eyes on the skies. Watch. So did you guys see that? We have in this close-up image two accompanying orbs of this object, celestial in nature, maybe something built, some intelligence. Look at this accompanying orbs besides this burning up object. It seems to me that there is some kind of reference to, as people are stating, that it looks like the Mandalorian's new ship that he acquired in the new TV show Book of Boba Fett. Brent, what's your thoughts here?
Yeah, Mando's ship's pretty badass. Look at that thing, streamlined. Yes, indeed, it does look something similar to this capture right here, this still that we're looking at. And I'm really happy that people were on the ground and they really captured some really good footage right here. And I like the way this thing's screaming. Is it skipping across our atmosphere, up in the horizon there, up in the stratosphere, or is this closer? This looks a little closer, and the way it's moving and captured in daylight, it's a pretty rare phenomenon. Is this more experimental craft that we're looking at, or just a celestial event? But then when we look at that other photo and stills of what we're looking at and captured by multiple events, this is a good capture. Let's look at this again.
You see the guy right there, he notices something in the sky, he steps into frame, and we're looking at this closer right now. That's what it's about. We're enhancing it, and we're getting the people's opinions in this live premiere. What it could be is a question that we want to find out. Could it be simply space junk or a meteorite? That definitely is a possibility, no doubt about it. But when we look at this closer, and especially with the upcoming little enhancements with the accompanying orbs on its right and left flank, that gives away something that seems, like I said, intelligence behind it. Look at this thing. It's just zipping. It almost looks like the video's fast forward, but it's in real time, indicating the fast rate of speed. Is this hypersonic experimentation going on above our skies, and this could be a craft with, who knows, accompanying orbs around it? Look at this. You see it left to right. Those orbs aren't like drifting one way or the other. They're solid in its proximity to this. Very, very peculiar. Brent?
Yeah, it almost looks like tips of wings, and it's glinting off of it, and this like booster coming out from the back.
Wow. That's all I can say about this next video that you're going to see here. I think I think I may have figured out what it is, but I will never know for certain, because that's the way it goes in this field. So let's take a look. We have a white object relatively low in the sky, moving at a nice, quick pace. And if I was to guess how fast this thing was going, it would be hard, but I think it's probably going maybe 50 to 75 miles an hour. Look at here. I don't know the distance from this side of the mountain to where it is, but that's not just a walking pace. That's not slow. It's pretty quick. And we do get some close-ups here where it just looks odd. It kind of has a disc shape to it, maybe a crescent shape or a triangle shape. But you can see right there how odd it looks. We'll do it again. We'll get close up here. I think I saw a wing, but I'm not sure. We're really close up on it. We're going to see those black dots. That's just the whiteness of the object reflecting light. And here's the odd stuff. It's out of focus there. But this looks like an X-Wing fighter from Star Wars. Look at this. I think because it's out of focus, we're seeing artifacting. We're not seeing what the object, like right there, I think it's just out of focus enough, but then right here, it looks like an airplane of the Star Wars caliber. That is amazing. Is this some secret space program, black budget UFO? Unidentified hypersonic technology? This is what it looks like from the Mandalorian's ship when he got his new ship a few weeks ago. But the next thing we got coming up here is Michael Schratt. He's got a new channel, Blue Room Media. Go check it out. And he's got a great story. Here we go.
And we do have the paperwork, documentation, and newspaper clippings to back them up. And thank you again for subscribing to this channel. So we're going to go ahead and get into the first case. Now, I've been debating for a long time whether or not I should include this case, because this next case has got to be the most outlandish, crazy, oddball, strange, weird case within ufology. Without a doubt, it really is. But here on this channel, we're going to push the envelope, so we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. Now, let me set this up for you here. November 2nd, 1967, Rary, Idaho. So there's two young men driving down the road, and what you're looking at here, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very accurate representation of what they saw. And we actually went to Google Maps, and I'm taking you within plus or minus 5 feet of where this exactly took place. So what you're seeing on the screen is actually real world situation. Okay, so what they ended up seeing is a strange, approximately 8-foot diameter dish-shaped craft that had a series of lights going around the outer circumference. It was following the hood of their car, like lockstep with the vehicle. But then they noticed that there were two beings inside this bubble transparent canopy that was right on their hood of their vehicle as they're going down. And we'll move on to the next slide here just to give kind of a little bit more of a reference here. Now, this is one of these auto binder reports that's in my book, but I'm going to hit you with this one here. November 2nd, 1967, near Rary, Idaho, the car of Guy Tosi and Will Begay suddenly came to a halt by itself when a small flying saucer and its two humanoid pilots appeared out of nowhere. So you can see the sight picture here. You've got this dish-shaped craft right in front of the hood. It basically stops the vehicle. And then what happened next is very strange. This bubble transparent canopy tipped up like it was on a hinge device. And we'll move on to the next slide here as we go through this case. Okay, so what you're looking at here, ladies and gentlemen, is the exact map. This is the sighting report and the map where it took place. And you can see UFO sighting occurred here November 2nd, 1967 with the arrow. That's the location and how we gauged to put the full color illustration together. So again, what you're looking at is real world, literally within plus or minus 5 feet of where this actually took place. And we'll move on to the next slide here. Okay, so this is the rough original sketch that went with the QFOS report. And you can see it's pretty rough here. Now they're showing 6-foot diameter dish-shaped craft, about 3 feet tall. It has a clear transparent dome. And you can see that there was some flames and lights coming out that were yellow in color. But then these beings were about 3 to 3.5 feet tall. And they had a pitted face appearance, almost like hamburger meat, and tall ears. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what the report is showing us here. Like this really pitted hamburger face for the beings. And we'll move. Now, what I ended up doing then is I cleaned up the drawing, and that's what we're going to go into next here. Here's the cleaned up version here. So on the right, you can see the clear transparent dome. You see the beings. Now you can kind of see on the lower left here, this strange pitted, almost groove face that this being had. At the bottom here, its bottom light appeared yellow at takeoff and flickered like a flame. That's what this craft actually looked like here. Skin was rough, wearing backpacks and tight-fitting one-piece clothing. That's what they were wearing. Now, we'll move on to the next slide here as we get through this case. Now, I just want to provide you with some references. So this is the Deseret News, November 3rd, 1967. Idahoans say they talked with 2 flying saucer men. So at least there's some paperwork to back this up. This is not just like a science fiction thing that came out of nowhere. There's actually some paperwork to back this up. And we'll move on to the next slide here, and we'll get some more references here. 2 Idahoans talk with little men. So this is another reference, another newspaper clipping. So we can back this up with at least 2 separate newspaper clippings now. And we'll move on to the next slide as we go through this case. So once the car was stopped, this bubble transparent canopy tipped up. One of these 3.5-foot beings, you could call them, with this backpack, he levitated and flew out of the craft. He went over to the driver's side door. He opened up the door and got behind the wheel of the vehicle. And then the craft and the car started moving down the road and eventually kind of pulled off into a grassy dirt area. Now, you can imagine the 2 guys inside were absolutely freaking out. They couldn't believe it. Now, the report never said how this 3-foot-tall being reached the pedals of the vehicle, like the gas and the brake. It never mentioned anything like that. But this car is going down the road with the saucer right in front of it. The driver goes over to the middle. They're freaking out. Eventually, what happened next is the guy Tosi, who was on the right-hand side, he's the one who left the vehicle. He was on the passenger side. He freaked out completely. He left the vehicle. And then it said that this strange being, started trying to talk to William Begay. He was the only one left in the vehicle. Now, what they stated is that it was kind of in this bird chirping, high-pitched frequency noise. He couldn't decipher what it was at all. Now, at this point, and we'll move on to the next slide here, now you can see this being driving the vehicle. I mean, this is crazy, but at least we've got some paperwork to back it up. Now, about 20 minutes later, the passenger came back. At this point, the being left the driver's side door, went back into the craft itself, and then this thing zipped away. This is all back in 1967. They were not drinking. They weren't on drugs. They were conscious throughout the whole thing. Police report was filed, and we've got paperwork to back it up. So this is a really good, strange case, but we've got references for it. So we'll move on to the next case.
I want to thank Richard Giordano at Goof On Lives for bringing us his opinions in regards to the phenomenon. Once again, it's all about the community. We're working behind the scenes. Maybe we could fix this. We're not sure. We're dealing with people that have their own agendas, and people are saying things which shouldn't be said on the public stage, but more like grown men just talking to people behind the scenes to try and resolve situations. I guess that's why I think we do it over the years, and we appreciate all you guys out there subscribing to Third Phase of Moon and supporting the channel by hitting that thumbs up and letting everybody know Third Phase of Moon's on the front line in regards to the phenomenon and bringing it to you as quickly as possible. Everybody be safe. Blake Cousins. We'll see you next time.